What up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast back for another week. It's the draft week, week 10. I got the crew with me. I got David Stoyo in Canada.
What's up? What's up?
And I got Gavin Heslop in Oregon.
Less than 48 hours away from draft time.
Can't wait. All right, let's get into this week's stories. Last week we talked about the corner Daryl Worley getting released by the Eagles after getting a DUI arrest. Well, this week he is signed with the Oakland Raiders and will join their secondary with David Amerson. Stoyo, you got to be glad to see Worley get another chance here.
This was all planned out. It was just played all the way along. He got drunk on purpose because he wanted to play for Green.
Gavin, do you agree? You think that was the plan?
I don't know if I'd go that far, but I will agree it's good to see guys get the second chance, and Oakland's going to need all the help they can get in their secondary, so hopefully he can pan out for them.
Yeah, that seems to be a good get for Oakland. Nice to see him get another spot. Everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah, just learn from them.
Yeah, just don't do it again. The Patriots have hosted Louisville quarterback Lamar Jackson in a pre-draft visit, and they say that Jackson left the organization, quote, intrigued and impressed. Patriots may be hoping that Lamar is available at 23rd. Gavin, if you were the Patriots, would you consider bringing in a guy like Lamar Jackson?
I'd think about it that late in the draft.
Yeah.
I know there's been a lot of talk about them moving up, but I think that would be a mistake for them. And Tom Brady's what we're all assuming is his final years. But a talented prospect like Lamar falling into the mid-late 20s like that might be too tempting to pass up on.
Yeah, it'll be interesting how far he falls. Do you think that's a good fit in New England, Stoyo?
I do, but not the 23rd pick. I think if he drops down to the 31st pick, they should draft him at 31.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if he gets to 31. I expect him to get drafted between 23 and 31. At the very least, he could fall the second round, but I think that teams are quarterback thirsty and will take him up. 49ers GM John Lynch on linebacker Reuben Foster, quote, if these charges are proved true, if Reuben did hit this young lady, he won't be part of our organization moving forward, end quote. That could open up the door for former Seahawk linebacker Malcolm Smith, expected to step into Foster's role in 2018, and he played 32 games the last 2 seasons with Oakland. Stoyo, you think Malcolm Smith can step in and help out the Niners defense?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. If you remember, Malcolm Smith was a Super Bowl MVP years back.
Correct.
What do you think, Gavin? Good fit?
Yeah, I think so. They'll need someone to fill in for the talent that Foster will leave behind, and Malcolm Smith's been not an all-star, but a pretty productive player over the last couple of years. So definitely would be a good fill-in for Foster.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Giants' new head coach, Pat Shurmur, says Odell Beckham Jr. will, quote, absolutely be part of the team in 2018. New York has been in trade discussions about tackle Eric Flowers, who has not been at voluntary workouts. And the front office believes they can move him for draft compensation and would be a good fresh start for both sides. Gavin, do you think that it would be a good move for the Giants to move on from Eric Flowers?
It depends on what they can get for him. I don't think, and while Flowers certainly struggled at left tackle, I think he could be a good replacement at guard and maybe even be able to fill in at right tackle if they need. So, if they're only able to get a 5th, 6th round for him, I think that they would be better off just holding on to him and plugging him in somewhere else on the offensive line.
Yeah, that was the plan originally, was to just plug him in, move him around where he can better help the line, but we'll see what they do. Stoyo, what do you think of the Giants? You think they should keep Flowers?
I definitely think they should keep him.
Yeah.
He's only 23 years old. It'd be way too early to give up on an offensive tackle. Give him another couple of years to develop. especially he's still on his rookie contract. So I would not move him just yet.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Stoyo, also, Bears GM Ryan Pace says team doctors' input was a major reason why Chicago did not match now Saints wide receiver Cam Meredith's offer sheet of 2-year, $5 million. Do you think this was the right move? If Bears team doctors say he's not going to be good in the future, I guess you got to go with that.
I mean, it's hard for me to accept anything Ryan Pace says at face value because he loves to throw random smoke out there. So no, I don't really buy anything Pace is selling right now.
Yeah. Well, you got to think, besides Meredith, I would say Pace has had a pretty decent offseason so far.
Yeah, but when your top wide receiver that you just signed also had pretty much the same injury as Cam Meredith,
Yeah.
it's a little bit worrying for me. He doesn't have a problem taking shots with injury-prone players before. Why would you pay him, or why would you pay Meredith $2.9 million when you paid Marcus Wheaton $6 million last season, and you're still paying Deion Sims about $5 million?
Yeah, some good points there. He's got some moves that he's got to address. Gavin, the NFL Network reports the Bills are unlikely to trade with the Giants for the number 2 overall pick. Doesn't mean they won't still trade up. I personally expect them to. Maybe with Denver. Elway's already said the number 5 pick is available. Do you expect the Bills to move up in the draft?
I definitely expect them to. I don't think they only signed A.J. McCarron to a really short-term deal, so I don't think that they believe that he's their future. And they already have worked on, getting some more draft picks this season. So I think that they're looking to move up. And yeah, I think Denver is a good place. Even the Colts, the Bears, the Bucks, anywhere actually after between 4 and 11, I think would be spots they could trade up to get a quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how it goes with Buffalo. Definitely needing to address the quarterback situation after moving on from Tyrod Taylor. Stoyo, Jets legend quarterback Joe Namath has high praise for Oklahoma quarterback Baker Mayfield, calling him the, quote, most outrageous quarterback in the draft. Namath says he watched Mayfield play a lot in college and was particularly impressed with his performance in the college football playoff loss to Georgia. Also says size can be a major asset in today's game, but Drew Brees' size was questioned many times, and he's one of the greatest players who have ever played, according to Namath. Stoyo, do you think, are you with Namath in thinking Baker Mayfield can be a star?
I am not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a good career in college, but that was college. And in the NFL, you need to be usually a bigger QB. And it's a little bit of a stretch to compare Baker Mayfield to Drew Brees, a Hall of Famer and one of the greatest QBs.
Yeah.
For me, I would stay away. I would not pick him in the first round.
Wow.
To me, he's a second-round pick. And I just don't buy the hype. And he is pretty cocky and rubs a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I have a feeling someone's going to take a chance on him to be their franchise quarterback, but in my opinion, it needs to be like a perfect fit for him to succeed at the NFL level. Gavin, that's some high praise from a star quarterback in this league. What do you think of Namath's take on Baker Mayfield?
I don't know that most outrageous is the term that you want to be using for a guy that has some character concerns coming from Joe Namath of all people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he is talented and he has a lot of confidence, which and also some cockiness. Maybe a little bit of that is some overlap there, but someone's definitely going to take a shot at him. I don't think he makes it outside of the top 10. He might even not make it outside of the top 3. From a lot of reports saying the Jets are really interested in him.
Yeah.
Which maybe that's why Joe Namath is singing his praises. He's trying to secretly endorse him for his former team.
Yeah. Yep, some good news for Baker Mayfield there. At least he's getting some love from some former players. Gavin, this is some breaking news you got to be upset about. Unfortunately, Gronkowski the horse will not be able to race in the upcoming Kentucky Derby. I'm sure this throws a wrench in your plans.
Yeah, I had my hat picked out and everything. I was going to go to the race, but if Gronk's not going to be there, we're going to see if they'll return that. I don't know. The feather got a little ruffled during shipping, but yeah, it's pretty unfortunate that he won't be competing this year, unlike his owner.
Yeah, Stoyo, you got to be disappointed with this. I mean, tell Gronkowski the horse to toughen up, just play through the injury.
Of course. And, as a horse, it's hard to get your own PEDs, so...
Yeah, he's pretty dependent.
You have to have those delivered to you, so it's not up to the horse, I guess.
Ravens sign wide receiver Willie Snead to a 2-year deal, and this might take them out of the Des Bryant running. Gavin, you think this is a good sign for Baltimore?
It's a decent signing. Well, this is the guy that couldn't even beat out Brandon Coleman in New Orleans to be the number 3 receiver. So it's good for the Ravens because they don't have a whole lot at the receiver position, but talent-wise, he's nothing to get super excited about.
Yeah, the Ravens just need some help at receiver, so they're doing their best there. Stoyo, Patriots star quarterback Tom Brady's agent, Don Yee, says he expects Brady to play in 2018, estimates a 75% chance. And also star tight end Rob Gronkowski and agent Drew Rosenhaus meet with head coach Bill Belichick today. And they tell him that Gronk is committed to 2018 and he will play this season. So are you surprised at all that Brady and Gronk are full all the way in on 2018?
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I was 100% sure Tom Brady was going to play. I had some doubts about Gronk, but I think Gronk just wanted to skip a few workouts. I don't know if he actually did, but I had pretty much thought he was coming back.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's what happens during the summer.
Yeah.
So, I think the Patriots want one more run, and Gronk wants to be a part of that. So does Brady. So does Belichick. They do not want to leave on the bitter Super Bowl loss of last season.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Trying to get revenge for last year. Gavin, you were way off on this. You had the Patriots done and out of the league.
Yeah, that's definitely what I said. I definitely didn't call all those stories bullshit when they came out. Yeah, Gronkowski, he'll be 29 at the start of this next season. So he's still relatively young for a football player, especially one of his caliber. And with Tom Brady still there, I think that even if Gronkowski does have some health concerns, I think that he's still going to try and compete when he's got the GOAT thrown to him.
Yeah, good news for Patriot fans. Good to not have to talk about those stories for a while now. Can focus on the draft, and they'll know that their 2 stars on offense at least are ready, and we'll be back. Oklahoma quarterback Baker Mayfield rumored to be, quote, definitely in the conversation for the Browns' number 1 overall pick. Cleveland GM John Dorsey says, quote, the only thing I care about is do guys win? Does he have accuracy? Does he have a strong arm? Can he throw the ball in the red zone in tight windows? Can he drive the ball? At the end of the game, does he win? That's what I look for. End quote. An NFL scout also tells Dan Patrick that the Browns are deciding between Mayfield and Josh Allen for their quarterback pick. Gavin, what do you make of all the confusion around Cleveland heading right into the draft?
I think this is, in some ways, it's pretty typical that there's a lot of smoke screens getting thrown around. This is the first time that Baker Mayfield's name has ever been out there for the Cleveland's first overall pick. Josh Allen has been heavily rumored to them over the last few weeks, but it's the first time that Mayfield's ever been in the conversation, which makes me think that it's a smoke screen. But it is a little bit unusual that the number 1 pick has not been decided yet. Usually by this time, we're only 2 days away from the draft. Usually by now, the number one pick is kind of known, and they already are possibly in some contract negotiations with that individual. But it might be just because there's so many quarterbacks that there isn't one that has really separated themselves from the other. And maybe that's why there's still all these smoke screens getting sent out with number one. You think back to 2 years ago with Jared Goff and Carson Wentz. When that draft was happening, there wasn't a clear and definite number one choice between the two of them. You could say the same about Jameis Winston and Mariota to an extent, but I think that one there was more separation between the two, and that even came out a little bit earlier than 2 years ago, and even now where we don't know what's going on. But I know that's the Browns GM John Dorsey has said that he won't even be telling the owner who the pick is going to be until Wednesday night.
Wow.
So that would explain part of the allure to who they're going to pick, because apparently nobody knows except for John Dorsey. So it's really, really interesting, but I don't think that Mayfield is really in play. I'll be amazed if he is picked there, but also not, because it's Cleveland.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy that with Cleveland, it makes it seem like all these rumors could definitely be true. I'm with you, though. I find it kind of refreshing that this year that no one really knows, and everything's kind of up in the air. I'm really interested to see how the draft shakes out. I don't think many people really know what's going to happen. And Cleveland's certainly not helping that. Stoyo, do you agree with the Browns heading in the direction of Mayfield or Josh Allen over Sam Darnold, or do you think that it's pretty clear cut that they should take Sam Darnold regardless?
I don't see how to do not pick Sam Darnold. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
I mean, Cleveland, you went 1-31 in the past 2 seasons. Don't mess up. Just don't trade the pick either. Just pick the logical choice, Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
That's it. Don't think about it. You can get creative with your 4th pick overall. Pick whoever you want, but at 1, pick your franchise QB.
So at 4, you think they should take another quarterback?
Why not? I mean, you have to pick, but at 1, pick Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's easy to say, oh, it's the Browns, so they're going to mess it up. But I think John Dorsey is a good GM, and I think that he knows what he's doing. And it's about time that Cleveland gets one right. And, I don't believe that Baker Mayfield's the number 1 overall pick. If they want to make him that, that's on them. I think Josh Allen is a lot closer to Darnold than some people think. But, Cleveland, you got to get this right. I mean, year after year, you've messed it up. So this has got to be the year. Number 1 overall pick, number 4 overall pick. Lots of opportunity to fix this locker room, fix this roster. Giants ownership says that they like Saquon Barkley at the number 2 overall pick. The Giants are split. Ownership likes running back Saquon Barkley, and front office likes quarterback Sam Darnold. So if Darnold's available at 2, it'll be interesting to see where the Giants go. And this might have either Saquon Barkley or Josh Rosen falling in the draft. So I say let's get into it. Let's do a 2018 complete first round mock draft. We're going to take who we think should go at each spot, and we'll get a consensus from us in the podcast. So let's start with the number 1 overall pick. Stoyo, who do you have the Browns taking number 1 overall on Thursday night?
Sam Darnold.
Nice. Quarterback out of USC. Gavin, do you agree?
I definitely think that's who they should take. I've heard a lot of stories, and a lot of people have been saying that the Browns are going to be taking Josh Allen. But for the sake of this mock, I'm going to say they take Sam Darnold, and I'm going to try and get this one right for Cleveland.
Yeah, that seems to be the logical pick. So let's go with Sam Darnold at 1. So then at 2, there's the Giants. And Gavin, who do you have the Giants taking at 2 with Sam Darnold off the board?
With Sam Darnold off the board, I have them picking between the running back and the defensive end out of North Carolina, Bradley Chubb, and I think that in the end they're going to go with Chubb. David Gettleman hasn't. He did make a high pick for the running back last year in Carolina and Christian McCaffrey, but I think that they're going to go with defense this time around.
So all right. So you go with Chubb. Stoyo, who do you think at 2? You think Chubb or you think Barkley?
I'm going to have to go with Barkley.
Yeah.
Since Tiki Barber retired, they haven't had a franchise back, and this is a chance to have Saquon Barkley there with Eli for one last run and having some decent wide receivers, a good tight end, and a new left tackle. So that is a pretty good offense right there before even Barkley gets there. So you add Barkley to that mix, and you take a lot of pressure off Eli.
Yeah, you think about it, adding Saquon Barkley to Odell Beckham Jr. and those guys, that's a pretty nasty combination. If they can only get Eli to stay healthy, that could be a sick team in just 1 year. I'm with you. I got Saquon Barkley going too if Darnold's off the board. So we'll just pencil in Saquon Barkley at 2. And then let's go to 3 for the Jets. So Darnold and Barkley are off the board. Lots of rumors about Baker Mayfield being a done deal to the Jets. Do you agree with that, Stoyo?
Nothing is a done deal in the NFL on draft day. So you have to wait till the actual draft. But I would not agree with that. I would pick Josh Rosen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough pick. Gavin, who do you think at 3?
Well, it's definitely got to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
They traded up to get this draft pick. You don't give up the capital they did for a non-quarterback. So I definitely think that they're going quarterback, and I'm thinking that they're going Baker Mayfield here.
Wow.
I don't agree with it. I don't think he's the best choice. And maybe I'm screwing up the whole system, but I think that they're going to go with Baker Mayfield.
But so I agree that I think that's where they're headed. Do you think that Josh Rosen would be the better pick there?
I think that he would be the better pick.
Yeah.
I think that the only reason that I might disagree there, and that just doesn't make sense. I was going to say because of how outspoken Rosen has been about things that don't relate to football, but it's not exactly. Baker Mayfield isn't one to stay out of the spotlight himself on the field.
Yeah.
So I don't know that that's really a legitimate reason to avoid Rosen.
Yeah, I think that if you're making the smartest move for your team, I think you're going Rosen there. I just don't anticipate Baker Mayfield doing well in the New York City spotlight. Something about that. I think Baker Mayfield will be a good fit somewhere like Buffalo or someone like Denver or Miami even.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
The New York media would eat him alive. That'd be like Jay Cutler going to New York.
Yeah.
So I don't think Baker Mayfield could handle the New York media after several bad games.
But
so it'd be entertaining to watch, but that's not what you want to do with your 3rd pick overall, I think.
I don't know. I mean, he was the quarterback for Oklahoma. That's one of the bigger football schools in the country. He definitely faced some scrutiny. I know that New York is bigger, but I think that he has the right attitude to deal with a large market like that.
That's not even comparable. This is New York City, the #1 media spot in the whole world.
I would
you're
say
underestimating how much Oklahoma loves their college football.
yes, but they're also very passionate about hometown players too. I think that they would be quick to defend Mayfield. I mean, I think that you look at Josh Rosen in a place like UCLA, and I think that he got a lot of scrutiny there in the LA market. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I'm going to agree and disagree because I think that you put Rosen in the New York media and you're asking for some of the same problems. So it'll be interesting, but I'm going to agree. I'm going to go Josh Rosen at 3. So let's go to 4. The Browns are up again. Gavin, where do you have Cleveland going at 4?
I think that they take a QB1, and then they take whoever's left over of Saquon Barkley and Bradley Chubb.
Yeah, so we could go Chubb here.
With Barkley going 2, I'd say we got Chubb at 4.
Yeah. Do you agree, Stoyo?
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Teaming him up with Myles Garrett would be a sick pass rush. So that'd be really interesting to watch. You get that pass rush with a franchise QB, and you're onto something already.
Yeah, just like that, the Browns could be turning it around pretty quickly. So it'd be nice to see if only Cleveland will do this draft smart. At 5, tell me if you guys are cool with this. We heard Elway talk about trading down. If you want to switch Denver and Buffalo, let's do a trade here and move the Bills to 5 and drop the Broncos to 12. You guys down with that?
Well, what do we do with the Bills' second pick at 22? Do we give that to Denver?
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot more than the 12th pick to move up those 7 spots.
Yeah, you want to give them...
I would say we should trade him to the Colts at pick 6.
You want to do 6?
It would be less expensive.
What do you guys think? What do you think, Gavin?
I think that Denver's, if anyone's going to trade out, I think that Denver's going to be the team that people trade with because they'll know that after a second quarterback goes at 3, no one's going to trade for 4. Well, someone might trade for 4 if Cleveland wants to move down and accrue some more picks, but I think that Denver's the most likely scenario. But
yeah,
let's go Denver.
Let's go Denver. Do you want to give up 12 and 22 to the Broncos?
I think that's closest to what it's going to take.
All right, we'll do that.
Even a few picks next year.
Yeah. Yeah, let's not do the 2019 mock draft yet.
Not quite yet.
All right, so adjusting this. All right, so we've got the Bills at the number 5 spot. Gavin, who do you think the Bills would take at 5?
If they're moving up, they're going to be taking quarterback, and we got Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen left. Man, those are some crappy options. I think that if they move up, they're going to go with Josh Allen.
Yeah, I agree.
I also agree.
Yeah, that seems like a good fit. A big, strong-armed quarterback. Playing in bad weather in Buffalo. We all remember the snow game last year. So I think that that's a good fit. That seems to be the route that Buffalo would go. So let's go to number 6, the Colts. So we've got 4 quarterbacks taken in the top 5. So that's setting up for some pretty interesting draft day stuff going on. At 6, Stoyo, who do you have the Colts taking?
I have the Colts taking Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Oh, nice. Correct me, Fitzpatrick is a safety, right?
He's a safety/cornerback. He's a DB.
Nice.
He can play multiple positions.
Nice. Out of Bama. Do you agree with that, Gavin?
No, I'm going to go with Quentin Nelson, the guard out of Notre Dame. They saw how bad their team was without Andrew Luck, and they have struggled to give him solid protection for the majority of his career. So I think that they're going to do what they can to protect him. And Quentin Nelson is the best guard prospect to come out in a long time, I think. So I'm going to go Quentin Nelson.
Yeah, and I definitely want to argue with you on that, but you're absolutely right in my opinion. I would hope that Nelson falls to 8, but if he's there at 6 and you got a quarterback like Luck, I would definitely want to give him protection. So, best lineman in the draft goes to Indy, Quentin Nelson. Let's go to 7, which is the Tampa Bay Bucks pick. Gavin, who do you have Tampa taking at 7?
I have the Buccaneers taking Derwin James, a safety out of Florida State.
Nice.
They need some major secondary help, and I think they're going to shy away from anyone from the Bama secondary, from the experiences they've had as of late, and they're going to go Derwin James.
Nice. Stoyo, do you agree? Or you could drop Minkah Fitzpatrick one spot.
I would drop Minkah Fitzpatrick. I think he's a slightly better safety. He's more versatile. He can play 3 or 4 positions. So I would
Nice.
have him at 7.
I have Derwin James penciled at 7. And looking at my board, I have Minka actually dropped a little bit. You guys might be surprised with where Minka's sitting on my draft. But I'm going to go Derwin James at 7. Just because I like Derwin James slightly better, but he's also a Florida guy and or played at Florida State, so I could see Tampa going that route. So we get to 8, the Chicago Bears. Stoyo, I know you got a good pick here for your Bears.
I don't actually. I wanted Quentin Nelson, but
Yeah.
he's off the board. Then next, I would like Roquan Smith.
Ooh.
But unfortunately, I think that Pace will draft Tremaine Edmonds.
Yeah,
So
but
it's like the pick that he wants to do. A 19-year-old player with like a lot of potential, huge ceiling, but we're not sure about his floor.
yeah. I agree with you that I think that's where Pace is going. But again, we're doing who should go there. And so Roquan, I like Roquan a lot. I would be happy with Roquan in Chicago. He's a hard-hitting linebacker. My pick on here is Denzel Ward, corner out of Ohio State. I think that he's good. He has potential to be a shutdown corner at the NFL level. Gavin, who do you have the Bears taking at 8?
I have the Bears actually taking Marcus Davenport, the defensive end out of Texas San Antonio.
Nice.
I think that Pace, he seems to like guys with a lot of high upside, and Marcus Davenport comes from a smaller school, a bit of a more unknown name, and so I think that this kind of fits his bill.
Stoyo, if you had to pick, I would side with Roquan. If you had to pick Denzel Ward, Marcus Davenport, or Roquan Smith, who would you go?
I would go Roquan, then Marcus Davenport, then Ward.
Gavin, you think Roquan would be a good fit for Chicago there?
I think so. He's a talented guy. They have a need at linebacker. They have a need at defensive end.
Yeah.
But I think that in a division that now has 3 legitimate QBs that you'll be facing, a total of 6 times, you've got to try and get to the quarterback. And so that's why I have him taking a defensive end.
All right. Well, I'm right there with you. I'm going to go ahead and pencil in Roquan Smith for 8 for the Bears. I hope that's where we go if we're going to take a linebacker. I don't want Tremaine Edmonds. And I'm thinking right along with you because I had Marcus Davenport going 9 to the 49ers. That's who's up next. Gavin, who do you think the Niners should take?
I think that they actually need some more secondary help. I know that they signed Richard Sherman, but he's coming off a pretty substantial injury, and so we don't know exactly how fit he's going to be. So I personally have them taking Denzel Ward, the cornerback out of Ohio State.
Nice. That could be a real good fit. Do you agree with that, Stoyo?
I do. You're
Nice.
spot on, Gavin.
All right, we'll pencil in Denzel Ward for number 9 to San Francisco. I think that would be a good fit. We dropped to 10 to Oakland with the Raiders. I could see a guy. I have Roquan Smith, but he's already gone to Chicago. I could see a guy like Marcus Davenport going here, or maybe Tremaine Edmonds. Who do you have going here, Stoyo, to the Raiders? Gavin, who you got?
I'm going to put in Minka Fitzpatrick here. Actually, you know what? No, I'm changing that because they just signed the cornerback. So now I'm actually going to put in Tremaine Edmonds for them.
Nice.
They're needing some linebacker help there. And since they added this new corner, I think they're going to look at bringing in some more linebacker help.
Stoyo, you there?
Yeah, I agree.
You got Tremaine Edmonds at 10?
Yeah.
I got no problem with that. We'll pencil him in at 10. Let's go 11 to the Dolphins. Stoyo, here's a little tidbit. I know me and you are not sold on Tremaine Edmonds. Miami Herald Armando Salguero says that he would take Tremaine Edmonds over Josh Rosen.
Okay, but that's 2 different positions. So.
Well, if he was available. He's saying that if Rosen was available at 11, he would take Tremaine Edmonds, which I don't agree with at all.
I don't agree one bit. But I do think that the Dolphins are interested in picking up a QB. I heard a lot of rumors. So what QB do we have left on our mock draft?
We have
Baker Mayfield is still available.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson.
Okay, let's go Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, actually, forgot that Mayfield was still sitting there. And Mayfield to the Dolphins at 11 would make a lot of sense. Do you agree, Gavin?
I disagree for two reasons. One, I actually don't think that Mayfield will make it that far.
Yeah.
I think that a team like the Cardinals will look into trading up, possibly with the Bears or 49ers for a quarterback, but it's hard to gauge exactly what they would give up, so I didn't suggest that trade.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know if the team has exactly given up on Ryan Tannehill. They didn't see him at all this last year. They're stuck with smoking Jay Cuddy. So I think that they're going to try one more bout with him. But I don't know, picking 11, if someone like Mayfield falls and they have interest, they might take a shot. I just don't see them giving up on Tannehill because I know that there was a lot of talk about him taking a step forward last year before he got injured. So I'm pretty sure I would think they'd stay with their current quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they're willing to give Tannehill another shot. For the sake of this draft, we're going to say that Mayfield fell to 11. So if Baker Mayfield is sitting there at 11, either the Cardinals could trade up with Miami and get him, or if he's there, the Dolphins would take a flyer on Baker Mayfield. I know they've talked about him before. So let's just go ahead and pencil him in there. That takes us to 12, which is now the Broncos. Gavin, who would you take at 12 if you're a Bronco?
I'm going to take Mike McGlinchey, the tackle out of Notre Dame.
Nice.
They've got Case Keenum there, but they really need to make sure that he can stay upright. He was blessed with a good offensive line in Minnesota, and that's something that the Broncos have not had for a while now. So I think that they want to have some success with Keenum and possibly have him be the quarterback of their future. They're going to need to make sure he gets some solid protection. So I say they go McGlinchey.
Yeah, that could be a good get. Who do you think, Stoyo?
So I would give them Fitzpatrick. They
Minka?
needed some safety help last season after getting rid of Ward. So I would draft him.
Yeah, I could. Fitzpatrick falling to 12 if he's there. I could see Denver making a run on him. So let's just go ahead and put Fitzpatrick at 12. Not Ryan Fitzpatrick. All right, 13 goes to the Redskins. I have Vita Vea going 13 to the Redskins. Can I interest either of you guys in that pick?
That was my pick.
Nice.
That's exactly who I have.
Sweet. We're all thinking alike there.
Nice.
Let's go 14 to the Packers. I have an interesting pick here. Gavin, who do you have the Packers taking at 14?
Well, I actually had Minka Fitzpatrick there for me.
Nice.
But since he's already gone, that really messes with things.
I'm saying think wide receiver.
Oh, man, I don't think they spend high capital on wide receiver. We haven't seen the Packers spend big money on a receiver, and they've always been productive, even going with guys in the second, third, and later rounds. So I think that they're going to rely on Aaron Rodgers to turn guys into good receivers.
Mm-hmm.
So this is tough because I think that their secondary is their biggest need. But those guys are all off the board now. All the guys I think worth picking at this juncture. So I'll go with the guy I went with a couple picks ago, Mike McGlinchey.
Nice.
Keep Aaron Rodgers upright.
Yeah, that could be a good route. What do you think, Stoyo? What's your input on Green Bay's move here?
I have the Packers forfeiting their pick because they think they're way too good and they have Rodgers.
They've already won enough division titles. They're like, screw it, we're going to take a break.
I have them drafting Josh Jackson, cornerback out of Iowa.
Yeah. I saw him. He's one of the last secondary available, and I could see that. I put in Calvin Ridley at 14 to Green Bay. Losing Jordy Nelson, Rodgers is already frustrated. He wants some more weapons. But for the sake of this draft, I like the Josh Jackson argument.
Yeah, I could be convinced that they stay secondary and go position.
Yeah, I cannot see them drafting wide receiver in the first round when they have Aaron Rodgers. He's too good. He can make other people look better, so I wouldn't spend a high draft pick on a wide receiver.
All right, that takes us to the Cardinals sitting at 15. They could easily move up at some point in this draft, but for the sake of this one, we're going to say they stay put. Obvious need at quarterback and other positions. What do you think the Cardinals do here, Gavin?
I sound like a broken record here, but I can't believe that Mike McGlinchey has fallen this far. He's a potential top 10 pick, and when you've got Sam Bradford as your number one quarterback and you've lost to Jared Belt here to the Broncos this offseason, you got to do everything you can to keep that guy who's made of glass untouched. So I'm going to go with left tackle Mike McGlinchey out of Notre Dame.
You know what? You can definitely get me to side with that pick. I could see that. What do you think, Stoyo?
I have them picking Calvin Ridley at 15.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't trade up. Let's just say they couldn't trade up to get a QB. And I don't think they want to draft Lamar Jackson. So I have Calvin Ridley going there to be mentored by Fitzgerald to possibly be his replacement.
Nice. I had tackle Orlando Brown going 15. I know he had a bad combine, but his potential is sky high. And I think, but I'm going to go with Gavin here. I think that they go offensive line, so might as well go McGlinchey. I got no problem with that. Are you cool with that, Stoyo?
I had McGlinchey going 16, so sure, it's close enough.
Nice. Speaking of 16, I also have the Ravens going offensive line. We heard Stoyo's pick. Who do you think, Gavin, for the Ravens?
I've got them choosing Calvin Ridley here, actually.
Nice.
I said earlier in the podcast that they really have nobody at wide receiver, and Willie Snead has not changed that. So I think they get Calvin Ridley, a great route runner, and kind of a polarizing player for definitely a first-round pick, I think, but a lot of people speculation where he exactly should fall in between the 7 and the 32 spot. But I think 16 right in the middle works out nicely to a team that is desperately needing a wide receiver that can stay healthy.
Yeah, I agree. I can go Ridley at that spot. That seems like a good fit for him. Need to give Flacco as much help as possible. You cool with that, Stoyo?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do 17, the Chargers. I'm not sure who to take here for the LA Chargers. What do you think, Stoyo?
I had them taking Daron Payne.
Okay.
DT from Bama.
Yeah. That would help shore up their line. What do you think, Gavin?
I definitely think that's a good choice. I think that they'll either go him or offensive line, but I don't know that there's any offensive linemen at this point that are a solid fit. Yeah. So I would agree with Mr. Payne.
Yeah, I had guard Will Hernandez out of UTEP to help fix up the line, or I could go guard Isaiah Wynn out of Georgia, who I had going 16. But I'm totally cool with Daron Payne. I think that's a good fit. So we'll go Payne here. That takes us to 18, the Seahawks. We all know they have a lot of needs. Stoyo, what do you think of the Seahawks in the first round of the draft?
I have them taking Harold Landry, edge from Boston College.
Man, I don't want to see him in Seattle. That would be crazy. Do you agree with that, Gavin?
Yeah, I think that's a good pick there. Sorry, my picks are all screwed up because half my guys were taken earlier. So I'm trying to reevaluate everything here.
This is where I told you before I had Minka Fitzpatrick falling. This is where I had Fitzpatrick going.
Oh, man.
And I don't think that he falls all the way to 18.
I mean, someone's going to fall. I've seen him mocked at 17 on some places. So
Yeah.
it's quite possible.
Yeah. Harold
Yeah.
Landry. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I think Harold Landry's a good fit for them, although he might be a little bit undersized for their 4-3. They might want someone a little bit bigger, like Maurice Hurst out of Michigan, but
Nice.
he also did fail physical at the combine, or left the combine early because of a heart condition.
Yep.
Although he was cleared afterwards, but that's definitely going to be some red flags. But Seattle has taken a troubled defensive lineman out of U of M before and had success. So I would say he's definitely a possibility, kind of an oversized tackle end hybrid, but I could be convinced to have them look elsewhere.
You're referencing Frank Clark?
Oh, of course.
Nice. All right, so we'll go Landry to the Seahawks with the 18th pick. That falls right in line. I had Harold Landry going 19th to Dallas. So Landry going one spot earlier is cool with me. Gavin, who would you think the Cowboys would take here?
I think the Cowboys, their number one need has to be wide receiver.
Yeah.
I think they no longer have Dez Bryant, and they did sign Alan Hearns, but he's a decent number 2, number 3 receiver. So I think that they have to look elsewhere. So I personally think they look at Cortland Sutton out of SMU.
Oh.
He's a 6'4", 220-pound guy. So it's a bit of a reach for some people, but I know he's definitely been in talks for first round, and with the Cowboys desperately needing some receiver help, I say that they reach a little bit.
I like that pick. Sutton out of SMU. That could be a logical fit for Dallas. Do you agree, Stoyo?
Yeah, that's who I had. As Gavin said, he's 6'4", 220, just like perfect person to replace Dez. And he even has Jerry Rice in his corner that endorses him.
Nice.
So when you have the GOAT endorsing you, you're definitely worth something, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good fit. That brings us to the Lions with the 20th pick. Gavin, this is a big pick for you guys. Trying to improve the Lions going into 2018. Who do you have Detroit taking?
Well, I certainly didn't have him falling here, but I'm going to go with Marcus Davenport.
Oh, nice.
Out of University of Texas, San Antonio. I had him about 10 picks higher.
Yeah, I didn't know that he fell that far.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, we're not great GMs because I don't think he would actually make it here. But I think that he is a great fit for the Lions. They're desperately needing some defensive end help across from Ziggy Ansah. I think he fills a great need and definitely has a lot of potential.
So you're saying if Davenport's sitting there, you want him in Detroit?
Yeah, I'll be screaming if he's not in Detroit. Well, I mean, it depends on who else is there.
Yeah.
Like Vita Vea, I think he'd be a really good fit for Detroit. We need another defensive tackle.
Hey, you could bring in Maurice Hurst.
Yeah.
As long as
I want Vita Vea, though.
Yeah. What do you think?
I've seen him play quite a bit being out here in the Pacific Northwest, and that guy is a beast.
Yeah, he's crazy. What do you think, Stoyo? What are the Lions doing?
If Marcus Davenport falls that far down, then they have to draft him, I think.
Yeah. I'm going to say, I mean, you guys are going to win 2-1, so we're going to pencil in Davenport. But if I'm the Lions, I need a running back. I mean, for the love of Christ, how many years do we have to go without a 1,000-yard rusher? I want a guy, and if they're available there, I'm taking either running back Ronald Jones out of USC, try and bring back some Reggie Bush magic, or I'll go running back Darius Geis out of LSU. I think these are two hungry running backs that could make an impact in the NFL immediately. Sort of like what we saw out of Kamara last year, or what we could have seen out of Dalvin Cook if he had stayed healthy. Gavin, you don't want a running back there, or are you just set on Davenport at 20?
definitely said it. Davenport at 20. I think he's the better talent out of all those guys.
Yeah.
And I definitely think we could use some running back help. But the reason I would go against it is because I think that we can get some good talent in one of the later rounds.
Yeah.
And I don't know that our running issues have been 100% due to lack of talent at the position itself. I think a lot of it's been last year, especially due to injuries at the offensive line position, and the year before we had injuries at the running back position. So I'm not convinced that that's something that we need to spend a high pick on because of the lack of talent. I think we can get some complementary guys later in the draft, and that's something that our current coach would have seen quite a bit of in New England. So I think that Patricia might opt to go that route and get some not as big name guys in the second, third, and maybe in later rounds.
Nice, I can see that. We'll go to the 21st pick, which is the Cincinnati Bengals. I have them taking defensive end Maurice Hurst.
Hold on a second. This is actually not the Bengals pick. It's actually the Broncos pick because it's the Bills that have this pick, and they traded it up to the Broncos to get number.
Oh, that's 22.
Oh, no, you're right. Excuse me. I am wrong.
No, I was like, I hear you.
Oh, man.
So I had Bengals going 21st. I had Maurice Hurst out of Michigan. The Bengals looking to improve the D. What do you think, Stoyo? You like Hurst to Michigan?
Sure.
Yeah. Who do you have there?
I have James Daniels, the center out of Iowa.
Nice.
Try and keep their mediocre QB as protected as possible. But I think that Hurst is also a good pick there.
Sounds good. Yeah, we've seen them take Michigan guys before, so it wouldn't surprise me if the Bengals went that route. 22, which is now the Broncos, which they traded with the Bills. I had center James Daniels going to the Bills here. So now let's see what the Broncos should do. The Broncos took Minka Fitzpatrick at 12. So who do we think they should address here, Gavin?
Hold on, I gotta recalibrate now.
I know, it's getting confusing.
Yeah. Let me see who is available.
Do we think the Broncos need offensive line help? Especially.
Wait, hold on. Didn't we?
We took Minka Fitzpatrick to Denver.
Okay, yeah, no, I tried to give him Mike McGlinchey.
Yeah.
But I was shut down.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely some offensive line help would definitely be good. So I'm looking here. I don't know if there's anybody that's first round worthy though. Outside of the Notre Dame guys.
I would consider Isaiah Wynn out of Georgia, a guard, or tackle Orlando Brown out of Oklahoma. What do you think, Stoyo?
I had DJ Moore going to Buffalo at 22.
Okay.
But I don't think that Denver needs a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Maybe just to go after a running back like Darius Geis.
Yeah, one of those two running backs could follow them. They got rid of C.J. Anderson.
Yeah, I like that pick actually. Now that Anderson's not there, I like either Geis or
Jones,
Sonny Michael.
Michael.
Georgia.
I could see them going Sony Michael or Sony Michel, however you say his name. But
yeah, I'm not 100%.
I watched him at Georgia. He's a talented running back. I would definitely want him on my team.
I'm actually going to go Geis over Sonny Michael.
All right. What do you think, Stoyo? Geis or Sony?
Geis. That's who I brought up.
All right. 20 or pick 23, the Patriots. I have them taking linebacker Rashaan Evans out of Bama. Do you agree with this pick, Gavin?
Yep, that's actually exactly who I had. They
Nice.
Definitely saw some issues when Dante Hightower went down, and they need some help in the front seven on their defense, and with Thea and Duron Payne gone, I say that Rashaan Evans is the pick here.
Nice. What do you think, Stoyo?
I have the Patriots drafting Colton Miller, tackle out of UCLA, since they got rid of Nate Solder, their left tackle, so they need someone to protect their aging QB.
Yeah, I agree. Losing both tackles is kind of concerning for the Patriots. You think they'll try to address the offensive line this early? What do you think's a bigger need for New England here, offensive line or defensive side of the ball?
To me, you have to protect Brady.
Yeah.
Brady is the entire franchise at the moment. And, yeah, I would definitely go tackle at 23, and I might even go tackle at 31.
Wow. Well, for the sake of the argument, me and Gavin agreed on Rashaan Evans, so we're going to do that. Let's go 24, where I had Daron Payne falling and getting drafted by the Panthers, but on our board he went at 17 to the Chargers. Gavin, who do you have the Panthers taking at 24?
I have the Panthers taking DJ Moore, the wide receiver out of Maryland.
Nice.
They need some more help there for Cam Newton. They already have a tall receiver in the guy out of Michigan that was a tight end there.
Funchess.
Devin Funchess, that's his name. So I think they need a strong complement to him, and maybe even someone to surpass him. And I'd say that DJ Moore is the next guy up to that. He's a little bit shorter, but with Funchess being taller, I think that they can get by without.
Yeah. Do you agree with that pick, Stoyo?
I had Jair Alexander, but since DJ Moore did not go to Buffalo at 22, it would definitely make sense that he would go to Carolina at 24 to help Cam Newton out.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. If I would take DJ Moore and give Cam some help. Give Cam a good receiver. You know, you got Funchess, you got Greg Olsen, but let's get some youth in there. So we all agree on that. 25th pick, the Titans. Stoya, who do you have them taking?
I have them taking Will Hernandez, guard out of Utah.
Yeah, after the injuries Mariota took last year, you see that as a need, addressing the protection of Marcus Mariota. What do you think, Gavin?
I have a similar position, but I have Isaiah Wynn out of Georgia for them.
Nice. Wynn or Hernandez, who do we think's the better prospect here?
I think that Wynn is personally, which is why I chose him over.
I think on my board I had Wynn going 16 and Will Hernandez going 17. So you can't really go wrong either way. Let's go. We'll go Isaiah Wynn because he's barely better. So that leaves. We also have Orlando Brown on the board, but those two are guards. 26, the Falcons. Stoyo, who do you have Atlanta taking at 26?
I had them take Daron Payne, but I think we already had him picked, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Let's go with Jair Alexander, quarterback out of Louisville.
Yeah, that could be a good fit there. You agree, Gavin?
I actually have them taking Taven Brown, the tackle out of Florida.
All right.
They had done Terry Powell on a one-year deal this last year, but now they need to find someone to fill that void.
I had them taking Rasheem Green out of USC, a defensive end. We could go either here. Stoyo, I'll let you make the executive decision here on Atlanta.
Whoever you said.
Rasheem Green. Who did you say again?
I don't know.
All right.
Cornerback.
Jair Alexander.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that one. We'll go Alexander there. Also, because he's got a cool name. We'll go 27 here. Who do you have the Saints taking, Gavin?
I have the Saints taking Lamar Jackson.
Nice.
Quarterback out of Louisville.
Yeah.
Our boy, Drew Brees. He's getting older. and Jackson is in. That would be the perfect position, I think, for Jackson. Late in the first round, he can sit behind a Hall of Fame QB for one, maybe 2 years, and we can assume have a very good QB-friendly coach to guide him in the start of his NFL career, much like Pat Mahomes did in Kansas City.
Yep, totally agree. What do you think, Stoyo?
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be my dark pick, but you guys got it as well, so.
Yeah, we all have Lamar Jackson 27th here, going to the Saints. Last year, Sean Payton said the Saints wanted Patrick Mahomes before the Chiefs traded up for him. So it makes sense they're looking quarterback, get a young stud, and let him learn from Drew Brees. That could be an ideal situation for Lamar Jackson there with the Saints. So we'll look for that in the draft coming up. 28th pick is the Steelers. Who do you see them addressing for their needs, Stoyo?
I have them picking Darius Geis.
Oh, nice.
Because they're going to need help at running back.
Oh, actually, Geis is off the board. He went to Denver at 22.
Well, shit.
You could go Ronald Jones.
No, I'm going to go Will Hernandez then.
Nice. Offensive line help. Nice guard out of UTEP. What do you think, Gavin?
I have them picking Leighton Vander Esch, the linebacker out of Boise State.
Nice.
A little bit of a reach, but with Ryan Shazier gone, and with us not really knowing whether he is going to be able to come back or not, I think that they're going to look for a replacement for him. And we saw how bad their defense was without him leading them, so they need to find a replacement for him. So I go with the linebacker Vander Esch.
Nice. I could see that. The Steelers like taking linebackers. My pick I have is safety Ronnie Harrison out of Bama. I think that teams see what Clinton Dix has done in the NFL as a safety out of Bama. Guys like Landon Collins as a safety out of Bama. And that he would be a need. He would be someone that you'd want on the team. However, I do agree. Gavin, I'm going to give you executive decision with the 28th pick here for the Steelers.
I'm going to go then with my pick then. Leighton Vander Esch. I think that they really struggled, especially against the run, when they lost Brian Shazier, and so they're going to look for a replacement for him.
Nice. We go to the 29th pick. I had the Jags taking Mike McGlinchey at 29, which I don't know how I had him falling that high or falling that much. Stoyo, who do you think the Jags should take at 29?
I have the Jags taking Dallas Goedert or something. Their tight end out of South Dakota State.
Okay.
I think he's a good, reliable target for Blake Bortles.
Yeah, he's going to need plenty of those. What do you think, Gavin?
I think that's a solid pick there. I also see Hayden Hurst, the tight end out of South Carolina, being another option.
Ooh, you guys are just jumping past a tight end, a budding star tight end. You guys are just looking right over him.
I don't know. You guys already traded away Greg Olsen, so I don't know what you're talking about.
No, we're talking about. I had him. All right, so if you guys are gonna go tight end at 29th, I would recommend going Mike Gesicki out of Penn State.
I don't know.
That's who I would take, but Jacksonville, who knows? Stoyo, I'm gonna give you executive decision on the Jags here.
I think it's 2-1, so we'll pick what the majority has decided.
Who is that again? Tight end who?
Dallas. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
All right, we're going Dallas. Tight end Dallas Cowboy. All right, 30th pick is the Vikings. Let's see here. Who do you guys have the Vikings take, Gavin?
I think that they're gonna want to make sure they keep their new quarterback upright.
Mm-hmm.
Did we get rid of? Is Hernandez gone yet?
Hernandez is not, I don't think.
Okay, then I'm going with Willie Hernandez.
Nice. I had Josh Jackson, who ended up going to the Packers at 14. Who do you think, Stoyo, for the Vikings?
I had Sam Hubbard, edge, Ohio State.
Nice. Hubbard could be a good fit. Gavin, you get executive decision on the Vikings. And you're going...
I'm going to go... Man, I'm going to go with Hernandez.
Willie Hernandez.
Yep.
He's a guard. All right.
Correct.
UTEP, which is one of the coolest names in college, I think.
What does that stand for?
University of Texas in El Paso or something?
Yep, you're right. Let's go 31 is the Patriots here. I think we already talked about this one. Who do we have the Patriots taking at 31, Stoyo?
I have Colton Miller.
Nice.
OT UCLA.
UCLA tackle. Who do you have, Gavin?
Ah, man, that is tough because I would... that's who I have slotted to him, but I think I would go with Sam Hubbard out of Ohio State if he falls that far.
Yeah.
One of the issues they had in the Super Bowl was the inability to get to the quarterback, even against backup offensive linemen, and against a backup quarterback against Philly. So I think that, that's really tough because I totally agree. You got to keep Brady upright, but I feel like you also need to be able to get to the opposing quarterback, and a talent like Hubbard falling that far would be tough. Oh man, it's either between those two and then Mike Hughes, the cornerback out of Central Florida. They lost Malcolm Butler. I think that Hughes is a good fit there at that position. But man, I'm really doing a good job of nailing it down. I'll go with Hubbard just to spice things up.
Well, we went Rashaan Evans, linebacker out of Bama, with the 23rd. So I'm going to take the executive decision. I'm going to go with Stoyo and say they need to fix the offensive line with one of these two picks. And who was that guy again? Colton
Miller. UCLA.
Colton Miller. All right.
6'8", 309.
Nice. Yeah, Brady could use a guy like that. Then he won't be getting strip sacked in the Super Bowl. Little shot for.
Zolder's really tall too. I think he's like 6'8".
Yeah, so it's pretty much they're replacing
he's 6'8".
him with his doppelganger.
All right, well, let's finish out the first round with the Eagles taking the 32nd pick. Who do you guys have the Eagles taking here, Gavin?
Well, I have Colton Miller here. But I think that now that Daryl Worley is no longer there, they're going to want some more cornerback depth after losing Patrick Robinson. So I go Mike Hughes out of UCF.
Nice. Who do you have, Stoyo?
I have Mike Gesicki from Penn State. They lost Trey Burton as their backup tight end. I think it'd be very interesting to have Zach Ertz and Gesicki on the field at the same time.
Yup, you read my mind, Stoyo. Mike Gesicki, Penn State tight end.
You have him drafting a backup tight end over a starting corner?
Yeah, no one.
Backup tight end, you have them, both of them on the field. Last season, they played two tight ends on the field quite often.
For the record, Gesicki is no backup tight end. He'll be like a very serviceable number 2. I mean, I think that he could be a star tight end in the league at some point.
Oh, man. Okay. All right.
And the Lions are just going to trade the rest of their picks in the draft?
Yeah, for Tom Brady.
But, yeah, so, I mean, even with our mock draft, you see all the confusion, all the chaos, even in the first round of the draft. I can't wait for Thursday night. We're going to be covering it live on a podcast, so make sure to...
If the draft's going to have more views than the NBA playoffs.
I don't know. NBA playoffs have been pretty good so far.
They have, but people just love football.
Yeah, it's true.
I know what I'll be watching.
It's the far superior of all the sports.
Yeah, I'll be watching the draft too. I mean, who cares? The Thunder are going to get beat by the Jazz, so. Yeah, it's looking great. You guys have anything to add? I'm really excited for this draft. I I'm really curious to see what the Browns do with the 1 and 4. I just have a feeling they're not gonna go Darnold and Chubb. They're gonna do something crazy in typical Cleveland fashion.
Yeah, it is really interesting. The number one pick is the most interesting because I think
That'll
we don't
affect
we don't know.
everything.
Oh yeah, there's definitely gonna tumble down. I talked about this a couple weeks ago, but if the reports are true that they're picking between Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen, then I stand firmly by my decision to take Saquon Barkley number 1 and pick the remainder of those two guys at 4. If they can't, if at this point in time they can't decide between the two, then let the other guys pick ahead of you, because you know that one of them will get taken at 3, with Sam Darnold going at 2 to the Giants. You can get the running back to help your rookie quarterback, and then get whatever guys left over at 4. It's a very Browns move, and it shames me to think that's something that I might even suggest, and also to tout it as a Browns move. But I don't think that it's as crazy as it sounds initially to wait on a QB.
Well, so just so we're clear, going in, you don't really know how it's gonna go. So with the number 1 overall pick, you're saying you're tempted to take Saquon Barkley and see how number 4 figures it out?
Absolutely.
If they truly cannot decide between which the report that Dan Patrick talked about today,
Yeah.
was that they are picking between Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen. So in my mind, if they can't decide between those two at this juncture, like they've had months now to figure this out. They knew they were picking first. They still haven't been able to figure this out. You take Saquon Barkley number 1 because there's a good chance he's not going to be there at 4. And then at 2, I think that Darnold's going to fall to the Giants. We saw the Giants pick a quarterback really high the last time that they were picking in the top 5. And I think that they're going to go with Darnold. There's been a few reports that are linked to that, and that their front office really liked him. There's been reports that the Jets also want Darnold, but would take whoever's left over out of them. So even if the Giants don't go quarterback, it's relatively safe to assume that either Josh Allen or Baker Mayfield would be available at 4. So if you take one of those guys number 1, there's a good chance that Saquon Barkley is not there at 4. But if you take Barkley at 1, you have borderline 100% chance of having either Josh Allen or Baker Mayfield at 4, because none of those other teams are stupid enough to take either of those guys at 2 or 3. So that's my line of thinking. I know that anything could happen, but worst case scenario, they get Sam Darnold at 4 instead of Baker Mayfield or Josh Allen, which would be better for them anyways, in my opinion. So if they truly can't decide, go Barkley 1. But if they like one quarterback better than the rest, then it's a no-brainer to take that QB at 1 and take whoever is left at 4. I'm saying take Barkley 1 only if they really are flipping a coin between two quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, with how many times the Browns have failed to get that star franchise quarterback that they can build around and keep them good for years. I mean, I don't think Cleveland has the balls to make a move like that to draft a running back 1 and then let it be decided behind them. But I mean, at this point, it's been this long. Cleveland needs to be sure. Cleveland needs to know who they're taking number 1. Maybe it's all a smokescreen, and maybe they know, but they need to know. And I'm kind of hoping it falls like this. I'm hoping that Darnold doesn't go 1. I'm hoping that he falls to 2, and that the Giants take him, because that pushes the draft into a little bit more chaos. And so we'll see. I think that I could easily see the Browns ending up with Josh Allen, number 1. I think that's where it's trending. But the smart decision, the best quarterback available, was probably Sam Darnold.
I agree.
Yeah.
To me, Cleveland really needs to pick a QB number 1 or Barkley.
Yeah.
This draft is, to me, the Saquon Barkley draft, because wherever he falls into top 10 will dictate the rest of the top 10.
Yeah.
You could go anywhere between 1 through 6, I believe.
I think
Possibly
he can
to
fall.
8.
I think he can fall farther than that even.
That'd be crazy.
But
I mean,
this is what Cleveland needs to remember. In the past 30 years, they have had 2 Pro Bowl QBs.
yeah.
So
How
you
can
need
guys
to get
like?
this right.
I mean, how is Brandon Whedon not at the top of their mind right now, or Tim Couch, or countless others? I mean, who was that guy? Derek Anderson, Brady Quinn.
But he was one of their Pro Bowlers. One of the 2.
Brady
Quinn was a Pro Bowler.
No, Derek Anderson.
Oh, well, yeah, he had a great year that year.
1 year.
I don't know, it was 1 year, but he had a great year. Him and Braylon Edwards and Kellen Winslow Jr.
Oh, yeah.
Are you saying Derek Anderson isn't an all-time great?
No.
No, I hear you.
That's laughing on the sideline for sure, but besides that,
Cleveland's got to figure it out, and the pressure's on. This is why we love the draft. It's going to be interesting as hell. We'll be covering it. We'll be putting out a podcast. We'll get the reactions of the breaking news trades on Thursday night. So look forward to it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, or leave a comment. And don't forget to tune in to our next episode later on this week. Thanks, guys, and have a great week.